It's so funny because the last thing I mentioned was alone, and that has been really something that has been flowing with me
Mm-hmm.
about what it actually is when it's with aloneness. Because we're never alone. We're never alone.
True.
We're always surrounded by so much love, love that we see, love that we can't see, and it's like that's always ever present. It is an omnipotent love, and but when I say alone, I mean, it's this realization that you can have your own mind, your own thoughts, your own perceptions
Mm.
without feeling like you need to be tethered, tethered to everyone else's world, everyone else's experiences. It's like it's knowing what is theirs and what is yours. And I realized that that was a space within me that having people's experiences in my head made me feel less lonely. And I think
Mm.
that maybe that might be something that a lot of people are experiencing. They think a lot. They carry a lot of people with them in their heads to make themselves feel less alone when they're with themselves or when
Mm.
they have to face themselves. Because when you really have to just sit in a room with you and your thoughts and how you feel about yourself, it can feel very heavy. And let's think about when it happened with 2020. And
Yeah.
everyone grew so much and evolved
Yeah.
and learned so much about themselves because they had to really sit
Sit
with
with
themselves.
themselves. Yep. They had
They
no
had to
choice.
really, yeah, they had no goddamn choice.
No
You
goddamn choice.
know? And you have to sit with yourself and sit with yourself. And that's the type of alone I'm talking about because that's when you're never alone, but you just have to always remember that whatever that you feel, especially when it's kind of innocent, you just have to make sure that you're, what's the right word? I'm not even saying the right, what's the words that are coming up for me? It's, hmm,
Take your time.
no, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. It's all feeling it. Okay, I got it. It's, I feel, it's getting this rock emotion. I feel it. I feel it. I
Mm-hmm,
feel
mm-hmm. Let me rock with you. Let me rock with you. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, okay. Because it's the type of thing that we just all separate, detach, so we can come back again as ourselves and independent and whole. We will realize how much we can give to each other, how much
Mm-hmm.
that we can offer and nurture with each other, without feeling like we're taking or something being taken away from us. Because
Yes, that's beautiful.
I think that a lot of times we don't give because we feel like a lot of things are going to be taken away.
Mm.
A lot of things are going to be taken away, and I feel like the more that we can give to ourselves, the more that we can give to everything in the world. Give with with again no limitations,
Yes.
and just let, give all that we got. Give all
Yeah.
that we got. Give all that we
Selfless.
got.
Mm-hmm.
Selflessness, just like, but it's also self love with that. It's
Yes.
love with that, because a lot of times when people try to conserve their energy, like energy can be conserved.
Right. That's a good point.
I'm
That's a
gonna
good point.
conserve my energy. You are energy. Let go of that thing that something that you can be with lack of something. There's
Yeah.
no lack of something. You are absolutely everything. And now put that in your head, absolutely everything that's infinite. Now go beyond that because you still don't know what that is.
Yes.
It's infinite. And if you think that you just giving your attention, your time, your space, or anything is making you lack of anything of your being, change your process, change your thought. No. Yeah, I feel like what we're supposed to do is give everything. Give everything. Because we know who we truly are, we can give everything and not feel left out or not feel like we're left with nothing. Because you're
Mm,
never left. It
mm.
is so abundant. It's so beautiful. You're
It's
never
never
left.
ending. Yes.
It's never ending. It's a never ending story. And it's beautiful. It's like the infinity symbol. It's never ending. It
Yes.
keeps on going. It keeps on going.
So that being said, that was good. That was good. Thank you for that. I felt it. So that being
Mm,
said, and this was, we mentioned this as well, but it, like you said, it is important to separate. as far as freedom and love. So you just answered cultivating a love for self. I'm sorry, cultivating an understanding of freedom. Why do you think cultivating a love for self is so important?
Mm, mm, mm. Let me go on kind of like not even saying on the roundabout, but let me bring it to the like the beginning stages of what
Mm-hmm.
that really means. I think it's our habit. It's our habit. It's like when you think about it, when you start with the day and you do something. But sometimes we reach for our phones, sometimes we do things, and with those little small actions, we're feeding into something. We're
Mm,
either feeling that we need approval, that we need validation, that we need to see what everyone else is doing to make sure that we feel important in our lives. Then we just like subconsciously kind of what is it, ninja, it was like ninja tactics way, make myself feel good about myself by
yeah.
looking at other people's lives. And it's like, let's see what everyone else is doing. Let me feel how what is it? I could, and a lot of times, a lot of people's lives can make us feel very enjoyed and enjoyable and excited. You know what I mean? It's good to see
Yes.
people feel happy about their lives. And it's beautiful and it's amazing. And that's really, really beautiful. No wrong part in any of it. You just have to make sure that what you're doing in your habits are all loving actions. They are
Mm,
all loving actions. And what I mean by that as well is like that could be mentally and emotionally and actually action wise. Sometimes I even find myself and it was this cosmic psycho loop in my head that made me feel like I was living in Groundhog Day because I was creating habits based off not like expanding my vantage point of what I can do, of what that I am everything, but also understanding that everything I do is showing how much I believe in myself, showing how much I can actually experience myself, go inward, and find out something that I don't know about myself. You do know, but something that maybe that you're not as aware of,
yeah.
or you're very what is it? What is like? Oh, you have a perception on that you feel that is like basically as a cap on that. I know that. Let me just leave that to rest. There's always something more to learn. And I feel that every single loving action that you take, even within your thoughts or your processes, especially let's just say that um, I have this thing. I don't know if it's like coming from. I know where it's coming from in different stages in different ways. Oh, it's like from the past, but I touch my stomach. I touch my
Uh-huh.
stomach. I touch my thing. Anytime that I feel like I'm not even saying I ate to, I will always try to make sure like, oh, this feels. I put my hands on my hips and hands on my stomach, stuff like that. This feels like a comfortable weight for me. This feels
Mm,
like something that I feel really good at, and it's always based on a perception of what I think other people may perceive me as. It's always a perception of saying, is this worthy? Is my figure, my being, my whole embodiment something that I should change based off how I'm feeling about myself? But it's so funny with that too. I took that as my trait. I took that as my being to always be like, okay, how I want to make myself feel better. I should get myself into a point where I feel good. And it's not about and it's you and it's again, this is not mine. This is
mm,
not mine whatsoever. This is a thing that I chose to create a habit with. So every
mm,
single and just like, okay, I wake up in the morning, I felt a little like stuffed or bloated. It was like, oh, it was like the day before. Let me just like touch this subconsciously and just go like, listen, or smooth down my stomach, smooth everything. And if it felt flat, I felt very good. It was like not like a little ego beat, like boost, like a little ego thing. And I realized that those are not loving actions.
mm,
Those are subconscious, but they are not loving. They are not loving.
mm,
Those are not things that show my worth or value. There's always constantly saying that it's always with a condition on it. If you stay with this, you're beautiful. If you stay with this, you're perfect. If you stay in this type of good trait or box, you can find that you should praise yourself because
mm,
you're not this image that you did not want to be,
mm.
which is so weird. And that image that you did not want to be is human. That's what you didn't want to be. It was human, and have was just like a just. I think also just showcase yourself, meaning myself. It's like showcasing yourself, showcasing the things, the ways, and I think in the wounds as well. There's a lot of wounds that make us feel that because we nurture them in such a way, meaning taking care of them and balancing them and cultivating them in a certain action, we are tending to them. We are tending to them. But sometimes those things that we feel that we have control of or on top of are actually the things that are really bringing us down because we feel like we have to change them. And
Yes.
feel like we feel that there's something wrong with it to begin with, and you have to be on top of your game. This is and it's so it's like a psycho mind trick, isn't it? It's
Yes,
just
it is. All psychology. Yes.
and really all the Sigmund Freud. It
All the
really
Sigmund
is.
Freud. I can't with
It just makes you, or let's just say, let's get into a thing where let's think about something that someone usually always like the broader general. Let's do like a general thing. Let's just say if someone is, mm, oh, this is one. This is one that I used to do so much as well. I
Mhm.
used any type of reflection that I could see myself. I would instantly look at it. Instantly
Mm.
look at it. Walk down the street. Look at my reflection. Look at my reflection. Look at my reflection. Look at my reflection. What am I doing that for? What was I trying to tell myself? That I am beautiful, that I am perfect. Did my image shape shift and change as I walk down the street? Is that, am I the same? Am I Travis? Am I Travis? I
That's
wanted to
deep
make
though.
sure. And it wasn't about that. It was about I wanted to make sure that I was still beautiful in my eyes. I
Mm.
was still beautiful in my eyes, but it wasn't for me. It was for other people. I walked 10 paces. How do I look now? Because how those people saw me, this is how I look. Do I approve of me and how I look? Do I approve of me and how I see? And when I got a angle that I did not like, it was just like death.
Mm.
It felt like I was not worthy of approving. My head got looked more down. I didn't stare at people in the eye. I
Same.
felt like I felt like I like I couldn't be just like what is it myself in this world.
Mm.
And it's those things. It's
Yeah.
those things that it's just like that we do to ourselves. That we do to ourselves. That it's like, why? Why am I doing that to myself? And it's so funny. Now I look in the mirror and I just smile. I look into my eyes and I smile. I smile, I smile, I smile, and it feels so good. And it feels so magnificent. And it's just because I'm not looking at it in a sense of vanity or
Yes.
thinking that I just want to be loved. I want to be loved. It's in the sense of saying that you're just perfect without the ideals. It's the ideals. It's so many ideals, and they're not even our ideals. It's the learned ideals from society and humanity. And again, those are not wrong. It's
Right.
just that we just built on top of thinking that's where our worth should stay. That's
Right.
where our worth and value should be. And if it feels like we are falling at some sort, it's like everything diminishes.
Yeah.
Everything
Or
diminishes.
so distraught that we can't focus
It's
on
so
anything
just,
else.
it is so funny. It brings me even to this. It's like I remember all the time where there's a beautiful, beautiful, amazing beings that created the trends or looks or ideas. And you saw everyone wanting to be that, everyone wanting to create that idea. And it's just like, is that truly loving yourself? Do you know yourself enough to even know what loving yourself looks like? And
Mm.
that is something that I didn't even know. Like I remember I remember sitting in my room, saying like thinking about. I was like, okay, me in this present moment. What do I like? What do I enjoy? How do I celebrate myself in this moment without trying to go forward in time and say this is how I
Mm.
would celebrate myself then? Like,
Mm,
how can I celebrate myself now? How
mm-hmm.
can I be kinder to myself? How could this, like, if, and for everyone that's experiencing, listening to this, is like, ask yourself, just like, why do I not feel that I am not worthy of my time, of my space, of my moment, of who I am? What about myself feels me less, or makes me feel less of the love that I already am?
Mm.
How can I, why, not even saying it's like, is there again, how, like, how can I be that for myself? Because you already are. So not even saying, how can I be that? How can I see that?
Yes.
How
Yes.
can I see it? How can I see myself clearly? How
Mm.
can I see myself clearly? How can I always make sure that I'm the love that I always wanted in my life? How can I always just give, like, the thing that you wake up in the morning and you see yourself and you want to give kisses on your forehead? It's
Mm.
just that you're beautiful. I love you. You're doing everything perfectly. Just imagine if every single person did that in their own way, in their own
You
specific
know how
way. For their,
magical we would be and the
oh
world would
my
be?
God, magical ass
There would be
beings.
no
We already are.
animosity. Oh my God.
It would, I feel like everyone, we would see everyone's true colors. And I feel like we see everyone. But it's so exciting to see who they really are behind
Mm.
all of it when they love themselves. That's the
Without the
exciting part.
labels. Without
Without the
the
labels,
labels.
it's just like me, and it's just like I feel with labels, those again still limitations.
Yes.
You are an infinite being connecting to this idea of this life. You are just, and if it works for you, it works for you. That's where you are in your process, and your beautiful ass being. Go
Right.
ahead, do it. And it's like, just always remember: are you adapting to those labels because you want to be seen? You
Mm.
want to be important or valued? Do you want to say that I am an independent being and you should see me as that? You should acknowledge that. Do you just want to be acknowledged by society, or are you really acknowledged by yourself?
My spirit,
Do
soul.
you exactly? Are you
Mm-hmm.
whole enough to know that no label can define you at all? You
Preach,
can place it on yourself, but that's
preach
a
it.
limit. That's
Preach.
as far as you're willing to go with yourself. You are so much more. Nothing on this earth can put like a placement on who you really are.
Mm.
This like this true wholeness, the goodies,
Make me
the
want to hug
goodies,
myself.
the good stuff, the good
Ah,
stuff.
ah.
No one, nothing. So it's just like abandoned ship.
Yes,
Go again.
abandoned ship. I like that. Let's put on a shirt. Abandoned ship.
Abandoned ship. It's just like and abandon the ship that's on the ship too.
That
Let it all burn. Let it all burn.
it doesn't matter. The limit does not exist. The limit does
It
not
just
exist.
it just not exist. It was like find out what it is when you just after you jump from that ship and go into the deep, infinite waters of who you are. Allow that just to engulf you. Drown yourself in it until you can breathe again. You
Mm.
know, and just, until you feel like I know myself.
Yes.
These are not. This is not so unknown for me.
Mm.
This is something I don't have to feel like I have to just be placed in these so many different identities that I'm just conforming to all of these identities and then adapting to what that identity looks like in society.
Right, right, right.
Constantly, constantly, constantly. Just wear yourself off of that. See who you really are
Yes.
without all that.
Yeah.
See who you really are. And love yourself for it. Love yourself for it. Because I feel like if there's no end or beginning to learning about yourself. I
Yes.
don't ever think that you have gotten to a point. You do have gotten. Everyone, I feel like everyone gets to a point where they feel safe, but that safety is a continuum. You are always safe.
Mm.
You are
Ever
always
changing. Yes.
ever
Ever
changing, ever
evolving.
changing, and you have to love yourself for what that looks like every single moment, every
So,
single second.
so that brings me to the question, what do you do since we both acknowledge, the human aspects of it, that's not
Mm,
bad. I'm gonna forever always do that because
I did.
yep. What do you do when the human aspects of doubt and fear resonate in your mind? You kind of answered it, but in the why, like you'll ask yourself, why? Why am I feeling like this? So you're bringing the subconscious to the conscious and you're allowing yourself to reflect and to feel.
Yeah.
But what else can you do or have you learned? And when those human aspects pop up of fear and doubt, limitation.
Limitations. Do you know what I've learned? That the only reason why I doubt myself is because I don't trust myself.
Mm,
And I
mm,
feel that just imagine if everyone trusted themselves. That's where doubt comes from. They're doubting their moves, their actions, who they are, based off what they feel that they need from society to approve
mm,
them. If everyone just created their own way, which they already are in their own way, and trust themselves for it, to just be kind and patient for understanding what that looks like. Because if you really think about every single decision in life, when we question, when we feel angst or anxiety and
mm-hmm.
confusion, it's distrust. It's all distrust. It's saying that, wait, I don't trust myself. Wait, what am I doing? What about our this like what is it? How it's not even saying a how. It's about, am I actually allowing myself to listen to me?
Ooh,
Am I
that's good.
listening to my intuition? Because but it's not, I feel that intuition is always, always present,
Yeah.
always present. It is not something that you can diminish or anything. It's the confidence of that intuition
Mm,
that's really kind of like the blowhorn. It's kind of just like it's the speaker going outward. The
yes.
intuition speaks, but if your confidence is like this, it's
And
not
that's
really
it.
showing. It can't reverberate everywhere. It can't show itself or express itself. But the
Mm,
more that you let your confidence speak or be larger than life and let your intuition guide you, no one can tell you shit. No, this like you can't. There's just like nothing, and it's not about no one can tell you shit. You can't. What is it? You can't trick yourself out of thinking that you don't know what you're doing.
right, right, right. I like that.
Because it's just like again, because it's not about other people, it's about you. It's
Uh,
about you. Because when you're sitting with yourself and you're like, think about the time. What is it? Reflect on the time with yourself
mm-hmm,
where you felt doubt.
mm-hmm.
What was the time for you where you felt doubt?
There's so many. There's
Yeah, I
so
can think of a
many.
lot too.
And that's the honest truth. I guess doubt whenever mm, teaching, changing my,
Mm, mm, mm,
limiting myself because I was in putting my own self in boxes. I felt like I went to school for X, Y, and Z. I went to school for psychology and counseling. So I had to stay
mm,
in that lane, not
mm,
realizing that the tools and the skills that I learned from that is only a small stepping stone to
mm.
where I need to be. So in other words, teaching, I had no idea that I was going to be in teaching. I rejected it. No,
Wow.
I'm not doing teaching because that's not what I studied. And
Mm,
it's funny because teaching kept popping up. All the opportunities kept popping. I can literally look back on years. My mom would say, "Oh, you should be a teacher. You should be a teacher. You teach social skills. You should do this." And I was like, "No, no, no, no. Behavior, behavior, behavior." Until
mm,
I decided to take a leap. Faith, trust yourself. God did not
mm,
give you these abilities. You don't have all of these skills, not just the logical skills, but the actual love that you have, the
yeah,
mentorship,
heart.
the drive, the purpose. You understand that your purpose is to serve, to show
Mm,
love, to show different. So why
mm,
are you limiting yourself to just do it in a behavior sense when
mm.
you can do it as a teacher? And when I taught, that's when I realized, oh my God, I'm being multiversal. I'm teaching, yes, academics, but I'm teaching life skills. I'm teaching cultivating love and understanding
Mm.
to a younger generation that we already know in this world is already conditioned by so much of social media and they have
So
so much
much.
anguish. And it's like, you remember how we talked about like, why did I take so long? Like, why did I limit myself? And that's literally the thought
Yes.
I had, because I was able to mentor, I was able to be a therapist. More importantly, I was able to make those kids feel safe in a way
Oh,
that I didn't know that I could do. And it's very empowering, not only for myself, but it's a very rewarding feeling. I know you understand when you're
I
able
do.
to just come here. Let me just hug on you today. You having a bad
I
day?
love,
No, I'm
oh
not having a bad
God.
day today. It's okay. And you watch
Oh,
the shift happen in the kids, then they extending love to their friends, or they're extending love to their family. Or I went home and I taught my mom about the power of self-regulation. I taught my mom the power of being able to listen and to express freely any thoughts that you
wow.
have. Miss Saxton, you taught me that, you know, and again, the bigger, it's not really an ego thing. Well, some parts in the beginning, it was ego. Let me be honest. I was like, yeah, I did that. But then I recognize it's not about just validation of, yeah, you're a great teacher. It's about validation because I'm getting rewarded by watching them grow in ways that I wasn't allowed to grow at that age, that I have desperately longed for. I wanted to be the teacher that I needed when I was their age. And okay, here it comes. And it is the most beautiful thing, and the money doesn't mean shit to me because we don't get paid. It's not about monumental gain, like you said, chasing
No,
that bag, because teaching ain't it. If you want to be honest, teaching ain't it when it comes to financial things, but it's not about that. And the
it's
more
not.
love I give out, I'm able to dismiss the doubt and know, oh no, despite whatever circumstances, society, or the logistics of teaching throws at me, I'm still being an outreach to these kids that they never had. They don't get at home. They don't ever see it. So that was a huge thing. And it took me years. I probably fought that for like 8 years, to be honest with you. 8 years.
Wow.
8
And do
years.
you know what's so funny? Because do you know where that validation also comes from?
Mhm.
Knowing that you feel validated because you trusted yourself.
Yes.
You listened. You listened. You listened. And you had the faith and belief in yourself after you listened to actually do something. To
Mm-hmm.
do so because you said, I trust myself. I trust
Mm-hmm.
because all that mistrust that
Mm-hmm.
was building up, you were just like, no, I love myself so much. And I trust myself so much to know that this is my life and this is my way. And it's beautiful. And
And
it's
I
even better than you expected.
and to add on to that, then there were the fear thoughts of, well, you never were taught education. You don't know how to teach academics. And I could hear myself like almost in a mental battle of, you think of the devil in the
Yeah,
angel.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it
I
was
was thinking
like,
about that over there.
girl, you don't know what you're doing. You ain't never taught nothing but behavior. Why are you doing this? And the other side's like, no, you can do this because you teach. What it doesn't matter, you teach, and it comes from a genuine, pure intention in cultivating something so much bigger than academics. It's not just about academics. It's about
Life.
equipping the life. Yes, exactly. It's about life and being free in that life. And
Yeah.
even the limitations coming from other people. Well, I'm a 20-year teacher, so you need to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm if you come to work with me, I'm that person, be like, no, I'm not doing that. No, I will do it Faith's way. I will do it Faith's way. And I gotten a lot of kickback for
Faith
that.
waves your only way.
I'm doing my other way. And like I'm the teacher who's doing sound bowl sessions. Let's do some meditation today. I'm feeling the energy in here. It's feeling a little bit rough.
Oh,
Let's do meditation. The other teacher was like, why is she doing that? Why? And then to be honest with you, there was a point where I was like, oh, I should shrink myself because I could feel judgment because people didn't try to understand what I was doing. They didn't see it, but I saw it, and that's all that
yes.
mattered.
That's the only goddamn
That's
thing
all
that
that
matters.
mattered. And so
You
it
see
was,
it.
it's a beautiful blessing. Like you said, it's a beautiful blessing in order to outreach to others. And it helps me feel good, even though the hardest days I would come home with a smile on my face because it's like somebody was touched today. Somebody was
Oh,
loved today. And that's all that matters.
and that's all that matters. It just it's like, you know, it almost just like it makes me so happy and just almost cry because it's just like you get a moment in time with these children's lives. You're
Mm,
gonna always be a part of their lives. Something where you were part of their story, an important, beautiful part of their story. And they're gonna go off And you're the amazing character. And that the love that you gave is
Mhm.
going to just grow in their hearts forever.
Yes.
Grow in their hearts forever because you were you. They're gonna be like, I remember when Miss Saxon was playing salvos, and now I know where that comes from, where that peace derives from. I remember having so much peace,
Correct.
feeling so calm. I was a little anxious because whatever was happening at home or whatever
Mm-hmm.
was happening or anything, but I felt peace because faith was faith.
Yes.
And she had faith
Unapologetically.
in faith. And she loved
Unapologetically.
herself unapologetically. And just loved on yourself because you loved it. You took off your mask, they took off their mask. And
Yeah.
that's the only thing that's the only thing. That's the only thing you're here to do. That's the only thing we're all here to do. We're
Yes.
all here to do. And it just makes me so happy because
Mm-hmm.
I remember I told you this. It was like of experience that necessarily was quote unquote bad, but it wasn't. It wasn't because because this is over like when I told you when I was younger and I was just like and I wanted to wear like okay well, for the people who are listening I was just like okay my sister had this beautiful Winnie the Pooh tutu bathing suit that I loved. It was so cute, the most amazing thing. And as I was going, this like, and she tried it on, so I was like, oh yeah, try it on. I'm a twin for everyone. It's like, she can try it on. So we were very close. I was like, yeah. And I tried it on. I was like, oh, I love it. I love it. And I ran downstairs and I saw my mom. She was like, oh, you look so cute and adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Show your father. Show your father. And I went up the stairs. I don't know exactly what happened right at that time, but all I remember, I was getting beaten. I was getting beaten in the corner of the steps by about shrunken, put down, someone taller than preaching about whipping me
Mm.
because I was being myself. And it wasn't, and I realized that it was fear from him. It was
Yeah.
fear. It was fear because he went through experience and when he was younger, trying on his mom's high heels, and he was yelled at and beaten and everything, and then having experiences with his cousins because he was such a beautiful being, loved everyone, didn't have any type of conditions on him, and it's like, and I feel like maybe as maybe subconsciously, it was kind of confliction with that as well. Like I don't understand.
Mm.
Um, but his cousin committed suicide because of the things were happening in the 80s and was feeling so, and he was, it was like, and he was attracted to men and everything, and whatever label he decided to be in for himself. And when it was this thing where it's just like, I felt like all the time that I was being in, like, again, these crossroads, it was always a
Mm-hmm.
crossroads of
Mm-hmm.
saying that, and it's just like, will people love me for me? Will people love me by just showcasing myself?
Mm.
Will I be with someone once, or will I be seen or disliked? I used to create scenarios in my head of, and I didn't realize it for so long. If I was being happy or being myself, I saw myself getting beat up.
Ooh.
Isn't that? Isn't that?
Wow.
And I saw myself getting violent scenes in my head of me every single time being myself, wanting to give someone a hug when I felt like maybe it might not be received or I might be rejected. Again, I'm going to go into rejection. It was like, and I saw myself with violent scenes.
Mm.
And it was just almost like, and that was the norm for me. That was the norm.
Mm.
Until I was like, so heaviness in my eyes, or heat, I can
Mm-hmm.
feel
Mm-hmm. I feel it. Come
it.
on. Come on.
And it's just like, and I didn't know why until I realized that all my assumptions were wrong because I was always loved. I was always loved, and I was always loved, and it was never about me. And I remember that David was speaking a couple of days ago for everyone for listening a couple of days ago, and I felt that everything went full circle when we did the ad for this podcast, and like I was being, it was like I was talking to myself and saying that to that younger Travis, saying that it's okay to be you. You are beautiful. You're perfect. Giving yourself a hug. It's kind of not the cry. It's like it's kind of just like if that never happened, and he was able, and I was able to, I was able to walk
Okay.
down the steps, and oh God, it was just still play and be in this world without fear, and just be myself, and being yourself is the most beautiful thing. It's just,
the
and
calm. Feel it,
it's
feel it, feel it. Mm-hmm.
so funny because you never know how much something affects you, especially when you think that I understand, but understanding as well as at the same time is really being in it and really being with it and really allowing yourself to be there. And and I open and it's so funny. This is all I get in my head. It's kind of like if I was standing on top of a step, and instead of my father meeting me, it was me meeting myself. And
Mm,
it came to me, and it just said, "You're fine, you're beautiful." And myself just kept on going down the steps, and kept on being myself. And I just see myself now, just smiling until myself went into that white light of the thing, and what was all imaginable and possible with that love and what he could have, and this thing could have been. Of course, everything happens for a reason to
yes.
make me exactly who I am, but it's just like, what if that didn't need to happen?
Mm,
Who and how could that child have grown so much more if that did not happen? If he was not was contradicted with with not loving himself. It felt
mm,
like, especially with someone that you love so deeply, not seeing you or loving you, I felt like the the embrace that he felt that he needed, and so that embrace got dim and lowered for so long, so long. It
and
hit,
he
and it
did.
always, and it did, and it did as well. That every single time it tried to sprinkle and come back out,
Mm-hmm.
and it was always slightly met with who you going to be for yourself, who you going to be for yourself. Love yourself, and I realized that I was the love I was always looking for at the end of the tunnel. And I realized that, and it became whole. I gave my younger self a hug. I loved it, played, and it was all over and done. And I feel so happy and so at peace. And it feels like a new chapter. It felt like I was
Free.
living out a life for that kid, for the younger version of myself to say that you can be free. You can
Oh,
be free.
oh
Oh
my God,
no.
that was so beautiful. So for those who don't understand, Travis, hold that thought because you just focused something on inner child wounds. And my little remaining
Mhm.
time thing is literally flashing across. I've been trying to ignore it. I've been looking at the bigger picture. But
Look at the bigger
what
picture.
I'm
Look at
gonna
the
do, for those who don't understand, I didn't upgrade my Zoom. It is what it is. So I'm only allowed 30-minute increments, which is why y'all gonna get 7 parts of this, and y'all gonna love every single 7 parts.
You're gonna love every goddamn
So
part.
Travis, before we just get kicked off, let me go ahead and end it. I'm gonna resend. You know what I'm gonna do, and let's kick back.
Yes.
Start that inner child.
All
Let me hit
right.
it. All right.